I'm Lisa, 32, standing in my new three-bedroom apartment, the keys to my first home in my hand. I'm still in awe of how far I've come. The sunlight streams through the windows, a stark contrast to the damp basement where my children once slept. It's been 6 months since I made the bold decision to leave my parents' house, and every day since has been a step towards a better life. It all started when I moved back home with my 11-year-old twins, Jake and Lily, after my divorce. I was a nurse, working long hours to make ends meet, and I thought my childhood home would be a safe haven. But then, my sister, Emily, showed up with her newborn son, Ethan. My parents, who had always been strict and somewhat controlling, welcomed Emily and Ethan with open arms. They made a big deal out of Ethan, while Jake and Lily were constantly scolded for being too loud or for disturbing the baby. One day, I came home early from work. As I walked down to the basement, my nursing bag dropped to the floor with a dull thud. There, in a corner near the water heater, were Jake and Lily's beds, dressers, and toy chests. Their favorite stuffed animals, Jake's old monkey and Lily's pink bunny, were sitting on the hastily made beds, with cobwebs hanging from the ceiling above. My mother appeared at the top of the stairs, holding Ethan on her hip. Her face lit up when she saw the baby, but fell a little when she noticed me. "Oh, Lisa, you're home early," she said, avoiding my eyes. I gestured to my children's belongings. "What is this? Why are Jake and Lily's things down here?" My father emerged behind her, his arms crossed. "We needed to make some changes. Emily needs a proper office for her freelance work, and Ethan deserves a real nursery." "A real nursery?" I repeated, the words bitter in my mouth. "What about Jake and Lily's real bedrooms upstairs?" My mother sighed. "Lisa, don't be difficult. Emily's situation is different. She needs stability right now, and Ethan is at a critical stage. Your kids can handle it." I was furious. "You had no right to move their things without asking me. They're my children." My father took on that authoritative tone I'd heard all my life. "Your sister's career and Ethan's development are important. The basement is fine." "Fine? It's damp down here. Jake has asthma," I argued. My father scoffed. "You're overreacting, as usual. Emily needed the space more." That's when I realized the truth. My children had always mattered less to my parents. I reached for my phone. A colleague, Sarah, had mentioned that her neighbor's cottage was available for rent. I sent her a quick text. "Is that rental still available?" My mother frowned. "What are you doing?" "Making other arrangements," I replied firmly. My father laughed mockingly. "Where would you go on a nurse's salary? You need us." My mother added, "Emily is family too, Lisa. You can't expect us to treat her differently just because you were here first. This isn't about who was here first. It's about respect. My children deserve better than a basement," I said, my voice steady. Over the next few days, the situation got worse. Lily, who loved playing the flute, was no longer allowed to practice inside because it disturbed Ethan's naps. Jake, usually a talkative boy, became quiet and withdrawn. I found his inhaler usage log, and he'd been using it twice as often since moving to the basement. One night, I was in the kitchen getting a glass of water when I saw Emily's open laptop. A message notification popped up. Curiosity got the better of me, and I read the messages. Emily and her friend had been planning to move Jake and Lily to the basement for weeks, thinking I'd be too busy to notice. I was heartbroken, but it also made my decision clearer. I started looking for an apartment in earnest. With the overtime I'd worked, I had enough for the first and last month's rent. A week later, my aunt and uncle came over for a family gathering. They were all cooing over Ethan's new nursery, which used to be Jake and Lily's room. I couldn't stand it. When my aunt asked if the twins minded, I said they didn't have a choice. That was the turning point. I decided it was time to leave. I signed a lease for an apartment in the twins' school district. Sarah offered to let us stay at her place until the apartment was ready. The day we moved out, I packed our essentials quietly while my family was busy planning Ethan's birthday party. Jake and Lily watched me from the basement doorway, their eyes filled with a mix of confusion and hope. "Are we really leaving?" Lily asked, her voice barely audible. I nodded. Yes, tonight. The next morning, we left while my parents were still asleep. As we drove away, I looked back at the house, knowing I'd made the right decision. At the new apartment, things started to change for the better. Jake's cough disappeared, and Lily started playing the flute again. I also got a promotion at work to be a charge nurse, which meant better pay and hours. 2 weeks after we left, my father texted me, asking to talk. 3 days later, they came to visit. They brought gifts, but I told them, this is our home now. As I showed them around the apartment, I announced my new job. Jake showed them his room with a view of the park across the street, and Lily played a beautiful piece on her flute. My mother tried to say the basement wasn't that bad, but Jake reminded her of his sleepless nights and constant coughing. My sister, Emily, asked who would watch Ethan when she had an interview, and I told her she'd figure it out. Now, as I stand in my new home, looking at Jake and Lily happy and healthy, I know I made the right choice. My parents' call for Sunday dinner is a sign that maybe things can change. But I've learned to set boundaries. I'll go to dinner, but I'll make sure we leave on time for Lily's flute practice. The journey has been tough, but I'm proud of the life I've built for my children. And I'm grateful for the new friends and colleagues who have supported me along the way.